Hello, this is Black Country Blokes chewing the fat.
Listen.
I've been hearing a lot lately about men don't talk, but in my experience, men do talk, just people aren't listening. So it's going to be me and a group of blokes discussing our struggles and victories through life. Warning, there may be some bad language, so apologies to all the moms, especially my own. Let's get going.
Listen.
I've been here, this Black Country Blokes, me, Kev Dill, Lee Cadman and Aren Chew. Today we're going to talk about motivation. Now motivation comes in many forms. It can be that expression, it can be that motivational video, it can be listening to iTunes, it can be listening to your favourite tune, that kind of tune that gets you up and gets you ready to go. And I love music, and different music gives me different feelings, like my all-time favourite songs, Tracy Chapman, Fast Car. Some days that's what gets the motor, and other times just listening to a bit of DMX or a bit of aggressive hip-hop, depends on what I'm getting motivated to. And I've found like different expressions, like the greatest saying I ever heard was off my mum, and it's, you're as good as anybody and better than most. And that was always the thing that got me out of bed in the morning. Some days when I was going through my dark days and thinking, will girls like me for having a disability, and will I ever be accepted, and will I X, Y and Z? And these little key sayings boosted me up and got me out. And I'm someone who lives on their nerves. It was anxiety that held me back. But it was that nerves, that butterflies in my belly that made me think, bollocks to this, I'm going to do it. The fear of not doing it outweighed the fear of looking a fool. And that's why I've achieved so much. That's why I'm happily married, and I've done all these things. Close that door for me. As I say, we are raw and uncut. But it was the nerves that boosted me through it. What's drove you? What's motivated you, boys?
Well, now it's definitely my daughter. Watching her struggles and realising what she's able to do, even though she's been through them struggles, is definitely motivation. Previous to that, I think I was motivated a lot by anger and things that were going wrong in my life. I'd kind of flip that and use that as motivation.
What particular things?
Just it could be anything. Whether I'd had a crap day at work, whether me and my wife had an argument, anything. I think you can kind of turn into motivation. Especially, usually it's to do with exercise, so it'll get me out and get me exercising. But I heard a good saying the other day from David Goggins. I don't know whether any of you have come across him. Absolutely brilliant. But he was saying motivation is basically the kindling, and then the drive is the tree that burns down, and that drive is what keeps you going for longer. So you can have little as you say, motivational phrases. So that motivational phrase will get you out running, but it'll be your drive that gets you to do those 5 miles instead of that 1 mile. And to me, that was really, really important. Really, really struck a chord with me. So yeah, that's
yeah. Just on that quickly, he's got a book called Can't Hurt Me.
I've just started reading it.
Mate,
well, like more than halfway through.
I'm reading it for the second time. When you first hear about him, you think he's a bit sadistic in terms of like how much he pushes his body. But what he does is he taps into like an element of literally that drive and uses his motivation. So yeah, that's definitely a good book if anyone wants to listen to it. I think for myself, probably similar to you guys as well, I think music's powerful, very, very powerful. If I can get the right track at the right time, if I'm feeling a bit lazy, I'll get up to the gym. But I've been open about like how I am as like a teenager. I was quite lazy, but I always like had a job and stuff. But generally, I'd always try and shy away from work wherever I could. Like I'd do the bare minimum. Even at school, I'd just do enough just to kind of pass. And it was only when we started fostering kids, and Kev, you've seen the little ones.
Yeah.
And when I first seen my siblings, and I spent a lot of time with Kyle, who's autistic, and he goes to a special school, and he used to suffer with speech, with like walking and stuff, and it completely changed my perception, if I'm completely honest, where I started to realise how grateful I am to be able to do simple things like have this conversation now, to be able to drive up to the gym, to be able to go out with girls, like silly things that I was doing at that stage. And it changed my mind to be like, this kid here, he's full of confidence, even now he's like, I'm going to be a professional footballer. He's very like, he motivates me, and he'll probably never know that or really understand it, but it's like seeing somebody just literally maximise their potential, I suppose, I felt almost obliged to do that myself, to stop making excuses for little things I can't do. And my little brother there, you know, he can barely speak and he's going to be in care for the rest of his life. And that completely changed me. So that's my like kind of intrinsic thing that keeps me going, is like I try and be like an advocate, hence like, you know, the sister podcast of this, like find your voice for people that are vulnerable or sharing their stories. But that keeps me going. But on a daily basis, if that doesn't cross my mind, yeah, stuff like music, books.
So that really strikes a chord with me, because when I am running and I'm out there and it gets hard, I think, well, my daughter can't even run. She can't walk. She's in a wheelchair, and that there really drives me. And I'm thinking, I'm moaning that my legs are hurting. You know, within my head, I'm moaning. I'm going, my legs are hurting. You ought to stop here. No, you know, ultimately, and I think a lot of it is mental, where especially when it comes to training, you have to get over that mental barrier. You know, your mind will cut you off way before your body's ready. You know, you can run a lot further.
Well, that comes to keeping you safe. Like when I used to go to Bridle Hill Baths, and it was 12 foot, it was 3 metres, 4 metres down, 12 foot, and you'd always try and get down to touch the bottom. And then as you're getting there, it's like, I'm drained. That's your brain's way of saying, we're running out of oxygen now. But really, you've still got another 10%. But your brain's saying, get up now to keep it safe. But it's when you switch that off and you go, hang on, stay calm.
Yeah.
And is it an acronym where you say things over and over in your head? When I'm training, affirmation. And I'll always say, like, by any means possible, you're going to get over it, through it, around it. You'll get over it, around it, through it. And that's what I say over and over in my head. When I'm feeling bollocks and my legs are trembling, I can't, you'll get over it, around it, through it, over it. And I just keep saying that over and over in my head. Just saying, any means necessary, we will do this.
Plus, most of the time, it's short-lived anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whatever you're doing, whether you're training in here, whether you're running on the streets, it's only a short period of time that you're doing that for.
And if you mess up, it doesn't matter.
No.
If you come 10th place, next time you aim for 9th, and then eventually, if you get the gold, then you've got to keep the gold. You know what I mean? And that's your motivation then. I'm number 1 now. How am I going to stay at number 1? Or I'm number 2, how am I going to get to number 1?
I think we've mentioned this before. A lot of people hit that high, okay, my whole aim is to get that gold. And then they don't go past that. So you kind of, you lose what you had because you've not set yourself the next goal. So there's not the next motivation to keep going.
That's why I'm always intrigued by champions who stay at the top, or like, you know, like football. I watch a lot of football, so like Ronaldo and Messi, they've been at the top for years, and maybe they help each other in terms of one trying to obviously be better than the other. But I think once you get to that, it is easy to, you know, get the top mark and then just kind of rest on your laurels a little bit.
Especially when you're at that point where
Exactly.
they've got more money than they could ever spend in their life.
Absolutely.
I think it was Marvin Hagler.
I was just going to go to Marvin Hagler and all that.
Can you remember it before I said you don't get up when you're wearing silk pajamas, wasn't it, or something?
Bernard Hopkins said that. He goes, how can a man be hungry when his fridge is always full?
Yeah.
But I was going to say about the Fantastic Four, Hagler, Tommy Ernst, Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran. The reason why they all started on top of the game was to beat the next man. And I think that's what boxing at the moment's missing. Because if Hagler had dodged Hearns and Hearns had dodged Duran and Duran had never fought Leonard, you know, we wouldn't have had that era. But at the moment, because everyone wants that 10-0, 100-0, you're missing out on the best fights of our generation because they're trying to be all-time champions without fighting the champions of their own generation.
Yeah.
And that was their motivation, going, no, hang on, I'm number 1. Yeah. All right, you beat me, rematch. All right, rematch. And that was their motivation.
And it's actually, you look at their motivation in the beginning, so people like Duran, he had nothing. He had literally nothing at all. So his motivation was just to better his family and his own life. Well,
look at that, like Chris Eubank. Chris Eubank was a man from the streets. He's eccentric. He was a very poor man who went to a lot of troubles. His son, Chris Eubank Jr. He's trying to be his dad, but he didn't have the upbringing of his dad because he was born with a silver spoon that his dad never had. Yeah. His dad was an eccentric poor bloke. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's still within boxing, you'll still get the middle class or the people who do make it, but it's more of a one-off. Whereas
Floyd Mayweather.
yeah,
I mean, one of the all-time greats.
Yeah, but
Come
he-
from a very wealthy family and everything.
no, his dad was shot in prison.
But wasn't was it his dad or his uncle who fought Leonard? And
So
I thought-
yeah, they did. He thought Vinnie Pazienza and all that. But actually, if you look, he lived in a single room with his brothers and sisters.
Oh, I see, I never knew that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's actually quite a
heard
rough
something like that.
upbringing as well.
Yeah, and he used to like get his backpack on and walk like hours to the gym, and I think he was his gran or something. He used to spur him on or
That's
something.
it,
Like
yeah.
that story of Mayweather, I find really inspiring. The whole like flashing money and stuff. I'm just like,
Yeah.
this looks like an arsehole. It's like it's weird. Like there's
But
this big
apparently,
perception.
in the real world, he gives more to charities
There you go.
than most of the other people. But he's the bad man at boxing. He's
I
like the
think he
WWF.
plays a role, doesn't he? A little bit, yeah.
Oh, of course he does. Yeah. But that's what's got him to where he is and got him to those paydays. But again, you look at him and what kept him motivated, because he had everything, didn't
Yeah.
he? And he had that well before he fought Conor McGregor
Yeah.
and well before he fought
Pacquiao.
I think the De La Hoya fight made him.
Yeah.
Like, money-wise.
Money-wise,
yeah.
yeah.
Probably like to box again, yeah.
So,
But this is like with every no such thing as a self-made millionaire, because everyone's had that leg up by someone, that opportunity to have it. But most people, like in the business world, they wanted it more than the person next to them. You know what I mean? They're willing to lose. Like they don't realise some days you're that close to losing your house, and it's that one roll of the dice that can make you or break you. But it's those people who have the bollocks to roll the dice, that time to make the money, and that's their motivation. And some people are motivated by money, some people are motivated by success, or some people are motivated by achieving what they can achieve.
What would you say you're motivated by then?
Me,
Just put you on the spot.
as I say, my motivation is doing it and not doing it. Because I was always told I wouldn't be able to do stuff like with my eyes, and I always thought it was that thing, because I grew up with other visually impaired people, and they were broken by the age of 4 or 5 or 6, and I looked at them and I thought, no way now am I with that kid. No way am I just going to be sat here with mummy and daddy, them taking me to the shops and taking me, and I'd have no friends. It was always my thing to not be normal. When I was a kid, I wanted to be normal because we all wanted to do. And then as soon as I thought that, I went, who wants to be normal? Let's be the best bloke. Let's be the hardest bloke in the pub. Let's be the funniest lad out. And I had to be so extrovert. And a lot of that was just to hide my insecurities. I see that now. But my motivation was being the biggest and bestest and whatever. And I've taken that. I used to think it was confidence, but I've realised now it's the courage. The courage to fall over to get back up. There's a story my mum once said when I was very young, saying you'll fall over. I went, don't worry, mummy, I'll get back up. And that's been my catchphrase through life. It's that grab the ball by the bollocks. Never mind the horns, he might bite you. And you've just got to think, by any means necessary, I will achieve this. And that's why I've started this podcast with these lads, so I can tell my flaws and my painful bits. Because if it weren't for the painful bits, I wouldn't have had the absolute brilliant bits of my life. Like thinking, would ever a girl ever fall in love with me? Because I was a broken kid, so I never used to have the courage to talk to women. And now I'm happily married to a woman I absolutely adore, got a beautiful baby girl, head coach up here, and that hasn't come easy. That hasn't come easy. And I'll tell you a little secret. If it's worth having, it's not easy.
So true.
and sometimes that can be motivation,
Yeah.
I think, and getting your head around that fact that
Yeah.
it's not going to come easy. You are going to fall, you are going to trip, but in the end, you'll make it there if
Yeah.
you keep going.
That's kind of like, that's a bit like David Goggins. So when you read that book, he kind of tricks himself and he does crazy stuff. And he actually had me doing it when I was reading it. So he'd be on the treadmill at say like 4 in the morning, whatever, and he's like, there's no other mad bastard doing this, only I'm doing it. Kind of like self-empowerment.
I used to do
himself.
that all the time.
And you have to like, your self-talk is so important. So you had your affirmations earlier, you've done it during your boxing, thinking about your daughter as well. And I think if you can just, whatever, by any means necessary, if you need to execute and do something, motivate yourself in any way, and he does that. So I used to go to the gym in the
calls it
mornings.
the cookie jar, doesn't
That's
it?
it,
He goes in and takes a
Absolutely.
motivational biscuit as such, and just to keep him going, even if it is to keep him going 2 more steps before he needs to go again.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But you keep doing them 2 steps, those 2 steps, those 2 steps. Before you know it, it's run 100 miles.
Because like with you, like you, because I couldn't read, still very bad at reading now, and my font was so big at reading. I'm a very self-educated man. I've never. That's why sometimes I get words wrong. I know what I'm going to say, but because I had to teach myself everything, I'm everything self-taught. Everything I've learned is by asking someone. Because when I was growing up, there wasn't YouTube and the internet. It was all conversations. So I hadn't got the self-help books and these different things. It was all just finding stuff that I could pick up, go to that cookie jar, pick it up and go, you know what, I like that, or I didn't like that. So I've been taught, myself, education has come from learning, picking people's brains, going, how do you do that, Bert? And that's the only education I've really ever had. So, once again, because I've always wanted to learn, but I hadn't got the necessary means that you two had, I had to find other ways of doing it. Because I say to all the lads up here, I am naturally rubbish at everything, but I find ways. I couldn't do pull-ups, so I go, I'll practice every day until I can do one. Same with press-ups, same with anything. And I look really good at stuff, because I've had to do it and do it and do it and do it until it's become natural. But I'll tell you now, nothing has ever come natural to us. And that's part of the journey. And find things that will make you do that. And once you've got it, you've earned it. That's the beauty of it. That's been the beauty of my journey. Everything I've done, I've had to earn and master myself.
I think that's a beautiful point, because whatever it is, you can try something very small, for example, like lose a couple of pounds or whatever, then obviously you can see your physical appearance. That earning thing, that's where the beauty is. So it's like that process, going through the whole process, and then you finally got it. And that's why, obviously, on a different podcast, I'm not sure the order that we sent it in, we were talking about shortcutting stuff, and missing the steps. Like, try not to miss the steps. Realize it's going to be difficult in terms of whatever you want to achieve, and somewhere along that line, if it is talking to yourself or telling yourself certain things, make sure that you can just enjoy that process however you can, if that makes sense. So I do stuff on a daily basis. I work for myself. As to other people, it's like, oh, it's all right for him. He's working for himself. He does what he wants. But I have to convince myself in my mind. I have to find certain things in the day, little habits. You'll see me just singing by myself at home, just to keep myself entertained, because I'm sitting in my room on my laptop most of the days. I do little things just to kind of enjoy the process, because the moment I get there, and it is about that not failing and coming from humble beginnings, that I want to make it better, I want to have an impact on the world, that inspires me. And then when I hit a landmark, it's like, wow, that feels amazing, and your chest comes out. But then it's like, okay, on to the next one now. How can I be better? How can I improve?
And when you hit that thing, you've got to go, well done.
Absolutely.
Whatever your name is, don't go, all right, then I've just made £1 million, so on to 200 million. It's got to be, we've done it. Absolutely. You know what? Thank God we've got to this stage, and tomorrow will be here, and next week will be here, and enjoy the victory when it comes, because they're short-lived.
I think you've also, as we've said, life is up and down. So if you're going on a journey to learn something, to do something, prepare yourself for those downs. Because a lot of the time, you know, I want to go and learn that, so you just dive straight into it. But actually stop and think, okay, at some point this is going to get tough. How do I build up a mechanism to get over that and carry on going, instead of going to that first hurdle and going, I didn't expect that. Prepare yourself for that hurdle.
Well, we have people up here now, they box on the Sunday, they'll lose. Win, lose or draw, they lose. And they go, I'm going to have a couple of weeks off. And then have a couple of weeks off, and then whatever happens, The winners, they lose on the Sunday, they're back in on Monday. And they'll go, all right, then let's put it right. Because what people do is they go, I was robbed. Them, the officials are going head for the Lions, and you don't lose by blaming someone else. You don't learn by blaming someone else. You've got to go, how can I beat those judges? I've got to weigh them. So the only way I can weigh them is by boxing the other person. More time you spend blaming the officials. Well, I keep losing, so I'm going to move from the Lions, I'm going to go to the Priory. Then I'm going to go from the Priory to Wednesbury. Don't take responsibility on your own actions.
Even if it is a bad decision, you need to do that, don't you?
That's what I mean. Even sometimes, and I've seen people's pants get pulled down, but you've got to go, that won't happen again, because I'm going to do better.
Yeah.
Because when everyone wants to blame someone when they lose, but when they win, It's all about me. I've just won the ABAs. When I lose, well, it was Kev and it was John, it was... So
Accountability. You've got to be accountable for it.
you've got to be accountable. And there's nothing wrong with failure, because failing is just another way of learning. It's what I did wrong. What can I learn about what I did wrong? But as soon as you start blaming people...
I think failure can be your best learner. I think I listened to a podcast of yours, and you were saying the first time you'd got into property and doing it, you basically got your pants pulled down quite a few times.
Quite a few, yeah.
But that probably taught you more having done that than if it hadn't happened. You'd have fell into that trap further down the line. It could have been a lot worse.
100%. With that, I stopped the blaming. Initially, obviously, I blamed everyone.
Yeah.
You know, I had the victim mentality. Then I stopped blaming everyone. I became accountable for it. I thought, well, I made those decisions. I didn't, you know, do my due diligence and all that sort of stuff. And then what that allowed me to do was improve my skill set, improve what I needed to do to make sure it didn't happen again. And then, like I mentioned in that podcast, my second deal, I made all that money back and some. So, but I wouldn't have done that if I just sat there blaming, you know, the shoddy builders or the people trashing my
What
house.
motivated you to carry on past that point?
A lot of things. So one, obviously the wife going to work and I'm sitting there just... So I'd gone into the first project thinking it's going to be absolutely amazing. It's not. And I promised her like X amount of money and, you know, we'll go on a holiday. That's not happened. So all of a sudden I'm crushed. Then, you know, as a man, that's crushing. Then she's going to work every day and I'm feeling like a failure because I thought that was the one. I had my numbers right, everything. And then it was kind of, it was a little bit maybe ego to like prove other people wrong. Because it could be, I could easily have just gone back to London and jumped into a cushy job. But I believed in my ability that there's people that have made money from property. I believe I can do it. So I was like, let me just try again. Let me just take it. And at the same time, I listened to podcasts. I think in that year, I listened to something like 52 books. Now, I'm not saying I remember all those books and I was just on a bit of a habit, but I'd pick something up from that. I'd pick something up from that and be like, okay, let's just try again. Let's just try again. And I had good circle around me. I was always taught to be accountable. And probably at that point, if I'm being completely honest, I probably wasn't fully accountable as I am now. Like, we talk about some of the stuff going on now, I take full responsibility for everything. And I think the beauty of doing that is you have the power then in your hands to change it.
Yeah,
That's the most important thing.
What's that famous, they normally say it to Alcoholics Anonymous, give me the strength to change the things I cannot change. What is it?
I know what you're saying.
Yeah,
I know what it is, but
I
I'm not going to embarrass myself on camera.
Give me, try and get it right.
Give me the strength to change the things I can change. Is it? And
The courage,
the courage to change the things I can change.
give me the strength to change the things I cannot change.
I have to get
The
good.
courage, that's it, we're going to, look, as I say, gang,
We'll be back in a minute.
everything, the reason why we're doing this and the reason why I've decided not to edit and everything, we want to show our flaws. As I said, I don't do anything naturally well. So everything we're working on here is off the cuff and want to be real.
Absolutely.
But I think this saying really relates to what we're saying.
Yeah.
Have you got it?
And just for anyone on YouTube as well, it'd be really interesting if in the comments you can let us know the stuff that motivates you as well. I
Yes,
think that'd be
please.
really interesting as well. So I think this is the one, Kev. It's grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Is that the one?
And how true is it? Basically, giving the strength and the belief to change the things I can change, to understand the things I can't, and know the difference. And how true is
your
that?
version there.
Yeah, well, I am. I am a deep soul. I'm some kind of alt.
You simplified that for us.
That's really good.
Yeah.
You want to repeat it?
No, I've not.
Have to rewind it and
Be
play it again.
brave and change the things that you can, i.e. the decision I'm about. I know what I did wrong. I had my hands down and clipped me a couple of times. Realise the things I can't change, me and my eyes, and the wisdom to know the difference. So, I have a little short one. I was going to say we'll end on a quote, but just had a lovely quote there. But one I've just read on the wall, because what I like to do around the gym is put little inspirational sayings so people can pick at them, and when they're blowing out the arse, they can look up and read it. And this one we read just before we come on. It's feel the fear and do it anyway. So until next week, gang, ta-ra a bit.
Listen.
And that's a wrap for another show. But if there are any comments or messages that you would like us to read out for our next podcast, please be in touch. There are also lots of different organisations at the bottom of this page, and hopefully they can help you or someone you care about. Please share this to spread the word. Until we talk next time, ta-ra a bit.
Listen, listen, listen.